As we begin our dive into probability, we're trying to find the probability of certain events. So first we have to become good at describing events when we perform a probability experiment. So let's give the events possible when performing a couple different experiments here. Our first example, we are going to describe the 6 events possible, or the 6 outcomes possible when we roll a 6-sided die. So we're going to assume because it's 6-sided, we can give each side a name, and we're going to assume it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In fact, those are the events, right? You can get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5, or a 6. Basically, it can land on any face of the die. All right, there are 2 outcomes when you flip a coin, right? A fair, in fact, it doesn't even matter if it's a fair coin or an unfair coin, because we're not talking about probabilities here. We're just trying to describe the events possible. So when you flip a coin, it's either going to give you heads or it's going to give you tails, right? Or 0, 1, however you want to call it. But typically when we think of a coin, we think heads and tails. When we think about the 4 outcomes for flipping a coin twice, so think about this, you're flipping that coin, but now you're just doing it twice. So in fact, we could draw a probability tree here. That first flip is either going to be a heads or a tails, right? As soon as you flip that coin and it's up in the air, probability splits, and you either have a universe where you hit heads or a universe where it lands on tails. And then whichever universe you end up in, when you flip it again opens up 2 more universes. So that first is heads, right? You flip heads on the first roll, heads on the second flip. This next event could be heads, tails, right? Heads on that first flip, tails on that second flip. And then same way here, you flipped tails on the first flip, heads, tails, tails, right? Maybe both of the flips were tails. So these right here are the 4 different possible events when you flip a coin twice. Now let's think about counting the outcomes, or not counting, but finding the outcomes when we count a number of 4s on a 6-sided die when we roll 4 times. So it says it's a 6-sided die. I really don't care about that, because all I'm interested in is if it's a 4 or not. I want to count the number of 4s. So if I'm rolling something 4 times and I'm counting the number of 4s, I could have 0 4s, right? Maybe you get a 3, a 2, a 1, a 7. So if I'm counting the number of 4s, you could get 0 4s. You could get 1 4, right? And it could maybe go in this spot. Maybe you get a 7, a 4, a 3, and a 1. Or maybe it can go in another spot, right? Maybe it's a 4, 7, 3, 1. But either way, I don't care about where it occurs, because I'm just counting the number of 4s. So I could get 0 4s, I could get 1 4. Maybe there are 2 rolls that are 4s. Maybe there are 3. Maybe all 4 rolls are 4s. So these are the events possible when you're counting the number of 4s when you roll a 6-sided die 4 times.